operation with someone, and that was just guns. I'm moving Uzis, fully automatic Uzis, Mac 11s, no serial numbers on them, and no defacing of the serial numbers, because we were getting from what my contact was telling me, we were getting them from the feds, and the feds were getting them from a manufacturer, and the manufacturer was basically pulling them before they had serial numbers, so they were untraceable, and they were coming from down south. It's kind of like what I'll paraphrase. It's kind of like what KRS-One says: there are no gun factories in the Bronx that we own. So when those guns were hitting the streets, it was sometimes from the highest level possible. They enabled us to kill ourselves. They put those guns in our hands to be distributed amongst our community. Me, I'm fucked up for doing it. And I guess that's the one thing I truly do regret, because I don't know how much damage that put into someone's life by putting those in the hands of some people. I sold some to my friends. I sold some. I never sold to rivals. I never got caught up in that. I can never be blamed for causing a war. But if somebody needed something, of course they're not going to tell me what it's for. I would get it for them, and in bulk. And one day, at one point, I had picked up about 18 Mac 11s, and I get home, chilling, have my dinner, sit back, watch TV. 11 o'clock news, 10 or 11 o'clock news comes on, and then I'm watching the same people that I was just with getting arrested on the tarmac of, I think, either LaGuardia or probably LaGuardia Airport, on a Pan Am flight to Puerto Rico. Crates of guns were being brought down to Puerto Rico. And for those guns to make it to the tarmac, it had to be all kinds of people with power to get it that far. And it's not like it was the first time. But, it was said that some feds got arrested, the people I knew got arrested, and meanwhile I'm thinking, holy shit, whenever the feds are involved, that means there's a lot of videotape and there's a lot of audio tape. So I'm thinking, I'm gonna get busted soon. Something's gonna happen, and I'm going down. I have all these guns in my house, and somebody's gonna come get me soon. So, and I was selling those for like $1,800 a pop, easy. And I just basically had a fire sale. I was selling them for like $300-400 just to get rid of them. I was taking people's jewelry, like, okay, yeah, give me those bracelets with the diamonds and all this other stuff. I'll take those, and I'll give them back to you when you give me the cash, when you have the cash, just to be rid of them. And then I just laid low, and I was literally waiting to be arrested. And I felt like I'm going to do some Fed time now, which is easily like 6 to 10 years.
Is the war raging still?
The war was on that. At that point, Flex didn't know how much I was doing on the side. It's not like I owed him, I wasn't his employee, so I didn't owe him the information of what I was doing. I wasn't on his payroll like that. And, the more I hung out with them and the more the beef started to pick up with them, finding myself hanging out with him more often, and now I'm, walking around with a bulletproof vest. I had I was like into the vanity of it because I had like one of the coolest bulletproof vests that was built into a t-shirt. And so I had some quality shit, and that allowed.
Because you made it hard.
No. When you're in that scene, it could come from anywhere. You're just a target by association, or because you just happen to be with that person when maybe someone else is looking to hurt them. And, I find myself having to, I'm like, all right, now I'm walking around strapped too. I'm walking around with, what was it? I had a 9mm. I was walking around with a 9mm. And, then I had access to whatever else I needed. And at the same time, and this is something that's totally random right now, but there was a time when Q-Tip, a Tribe Called Quest, and Rex and Effects had a war with each other. And it was a war that extended into Zulu Nation. And at the time, there was going to be a peace treaty at a mosque on 96th Street or 95th Street in Manhattan. And, I was one of the people that supplied the necessary guns to be, some of the necessary guns to be around. I don't know how many else supplied, but I was one of the people who supplied stuff in like wheel wells of cars around that mosque in case something jumped off. And it was something that, it was one of those moments of like smelling death in the air. And, thankfully, nothing happened. One of the people I wasn't associated with, or a group of people, were in a van that got pulled over by the cops and had a bunch of guns in it. And they all got arrested and went to jail. But it was something that we were ready to deal with in terms of, it was something that we were ready to deal with in terms of going to war. And if they would have come out of there fighting, we were going to be there ready. And so there was a lot of things like that I was getting caught up in, and I was kind of getting sucked deeper and deeper into the possibility of causing my own death.
Were you in communication with Kuriaki anymore now? Or was he on an island?
At that point, Kuriaki is into his own world. Nobody knows where he lives, but we have an idea. Everyone had their spies. Flex ends up moving off the block into Westchester. And next thing you know, let me see. Buck 4 gets murdered. Buck 4 also had a home north of the Bronx, above the Bronx, and he was found in his garage, tortured and assassined. He was killed. Executed. He was killed execution style, and that's how they found him. And that was when I was like, I'm all in. That was when I was like, I'm all in now, because they just killed my best friend, and I just felt like.
Who's that?
We only assumed that it was Kuriaki's crew. I felt like, well, if we gotta find this dude, we're gonna find him. And it got to a point where we found out where he lived, or where a girlfriend lived. I'm not sure what it was. And we went there.
Who's we?
Me and some of the guys. I can't go into that. Me and some of the guys went there, and we didn't do anything. We laid, but we were ready to do something. Some people waiting in the car, some people walking in the park across the street from where the building was, and acting like we weren't with each other, and kind of like in disguise, and waiting for a moment to see if we could catch somebody. whether it was him or anyone else.